Welcome back to the big show. Time now is 7:16. The federal government shutdown is now in effect, and the Jacobs Cushman San Diego Food Bank is ready to respond to what they anticipate will be an increased need across our region. Here to tell us more about it is the CEO of that food bank, but none other than Casey Castillo, who once again joins us in the early hours of 7 o'clock in the morning. Casey, thanks for rolling in.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
All right, I said it there, and it was an ad lib. It wasn't in the script, but I anticipate that at least in the short term, once the final paycheck hits the bank, that the need's going to go up, and yet at the same time, the funding, the federal dollars you might get are going to go down. That's just a bad combination, is it not?
You're right, it is a bad combination. We're coming off a year, our fiscal year ending in June, where we distributed 44 million meals. That's the second most in our 50-year history. That's an indicator that the need was rising. We're serving over 400,000 people. But you're right, we're also seeing cuts. We have some federal programs. And so coming into this new year, as the demand was increasing, we're having to fill about a 5 million meal gap for the year. So we've had some success in this first quarter. We're being gritty about it, hunkering down. But this shutdown, which is in day 2 now, will add some additional complexity and certainly challenges to fighting against that meal gap.
Because you're trying to tackle 2 things as it relates to DC. The shutdown, which may or may not have expected, but also the tightening of the belt at the federal level. You know, they're trying to deal with a $37 trillion deficit. I imagine you're also getting cut there as well, right? Yeah,
so we're getting cut millions of pounds of food. And you're right, as we see this shutdown occur, there are thousands of military families, federal workers, and low-income families that will face immediate financial strain. I mean, San Diego County has one of the highest concentration of active-duty military and federal workers, and we anticipate many of them will come to the San Diego Food Bank when they need help. That first missing check likely will be next week on October 10th.
Right.
And you know, these federal workers, these folks are like us. You know, many of those positions are not high-paying jobs.
Right.
And 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. I'm sure that's the same within the federal government. And I imagine higher here in San Diego, we face some additional challenges.
So if I'm sitting on the white sofa and you're holding the clicker doing the interview, I would say, I'd be saying, hey, folks, this is what we're going to do. We're going to really tighten up and make sure that these meals get to the people who absolutely need them first.
Yeah.
And now, explain, you're a layer away from the actual distribution of the food. You give the food to people who give the food. Do I understand that right?
That's correct. Well, we have 2 models that we utilize to get food out. We have our nonprofit partner method, where we have 450 nonprofits. We provide food to them, and they support folks at their pantry and their distributions. But we also have 200 direct distributions, where we load our fleet of 30 vehicles out, and we go out on a daily basis. So we do it both ways, direct.
So, with that in mind, getting to my question, how do you make sure that no one's gaming the system and just taking advantage of the generosity of San Diegans?
Well, I think, you know, when you see our lines, you know, whether it's at a direct distribution or at a pantry, you know, I think most folks that don't need the food are not going to be willing to wait in line with a couple hundred people for 30 minutes to get 20 pounds.
Well, the problem doesn't exist in your view.
I think, you know, certainly there are bad actors in everything, but I think it's a small percentage of folks. And again, I think, you know, most of who we serve live under 200% of the federal poverty limit. So they're making $25,000 a year. Household of 4 is under 60,000 in San Diego. That's very difficult.
Yeah. All right, well, you're doing angels work then, Casey, and it's always kind of you to come in and share it with us, and you always have a place at our table whenever you want to spread the word about something.
Well, thank you, and just folks that need help, visit our website. We have a food locator that you type in your zip code, and you can find a food resource in your neighborhood.
Say the website is?
SanDiegoFoodBank.org.
Pretty simple, SanDiegoFoodBank.org, SanDiegoFoodBank.org.
Yep.
Casey, have a safe day.